This episode of the Nerd Corporation contains spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And I'm Brian, and we're from the Learning the Ropes podcast, which you can find on iTunes, Google Play, or your nearest seashell.
And buckle up, because you're about to listen to the Nerd Corporation.
Dig it!
What?
Welcome to the Nerd Corporation.
What's up, everybody? It's Monday, and you know what that means.
It's podcast day.
My name's Eddie Lyon.
I'm Dr. Nick.
And welcome
to
the Nerd Corporation. This is episode 4A, Wrestlemania.
Jumping right into the nerd news this week. Grand Theft Auto 5.
Most profitable media
Of all time.
ever.
90 million units sold, 6 billion with a B, like Bill Clinton, cigar under the Oval Office, $1 billion worth of revenue.
Yep. It's crazy.
How many hours would you say you've put into Grand Theft Auto 5?
Hundreds.
Yeah, I've got at least 2 under my belt. 200 solid.
Yep.
Every time they release an interesting DLC for that one, I'm inclined to re-download it, however many hours that takes, and jump right back into Los Santos.
Right? You don't expect that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Rockstar's just sitting there like, yeah, we'll just throw down another GTA title and that's it.
Oh, you stopped playing Grand Theft Auto? How about now? We just threw new shit in there. Oh, what? A new car? This game's been out for 5 years and we're still adding new shit to it?
It's probably why we haven't seen the plot point to GTA 6 yet.
I don't even think there is a GTA 6 yet. They're probably not even, like, considering it.
They're probably just going to take that story and just add it on to GTA 5.
I honestly feel like they're not even going to say anything about GTA 6 until after Red Dead 2 comes out.
Probably.
So I wouldn't get your hopes up. But why do you need to get your hopes up? Because, damn it, if you ain't got your own fucking business, motorcycle club, bunker, hangar, fucking
Lowrider.
Oh my god, dude, all of this. I have it all. So, you know, once again, you can add us on PlayStation Network. I'm Dr. Nick 83.
And I'm Vocal85, VOKAL85.
And if you're a GTA person, we just might re-download it to help you get on, because I'm still sitting on like 10 million.
Nice.
After I sold all of my DeLoreans.
I'm broke.
Yeah, well, I can change that. Also, in comic book news this week, we have Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, which will be out this August.
Nice. I'm excited for that.
The synopsis goes, in this epic crossover, Morty turns to his grandfather for help in understanding the popular RPG after it becomes all the rage at his school. Rick being Rick, it's not long before the entire Smith family is dragged into an epic fantasy realm. It's a premise that reminds us of Community's D&D themed episodes, which is fitting since Dan Harmon also created that. So
that's going to be really exciting. I think we could never get enough Rick and Morty media.
Any kind of Rick and Morty, anything you slap Rick and Morty on it, and it's a thing. Look at what they did for McDonald's in the Szechuan sauce.
With the Szechuan sauce,
they brought that shit back quick. McDonald's was like, "Thanks, Rick and Morty, for reigniting people's passion for McNuggets." But let's be honest, did we ever lose our passion for McNuggets?
Even when I found out that McNuggets were just a pink paste,
I'm okay with it.
I was still like, gimme.
As long as it comes with Szechuan sauce or barbecue, I'm happy.
Sweet and sour for me.
My favorite is I get the sweet and sour and the barbecue, and I double dip. Yeah. So there you go, from Chef Doc. Some awesome McNugget advice. And then we also got a new Solo Star Wars story trailer. And a lot of negative hype about this movie.
Really?
Everybody I know is just talking mad shit.
No way, man. I have high hopes for this movie. Especially Donald Glover as a young Lando Calrissian.
Wasn't it weird since we were talking to you yesterday and he said they might as well just call the movie Lando a Star Wars story because he doesn't have any hope for this. Which, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not expecting a great Harrison Ford impression. I'm expecting a good Han Solo story.
Absolutely. And it looks like it from the looks of the trailer. We see a brand new Millennium Falcon.
Oh, it looks so shiny.
Right? We see a young 190-year-old Chewie.
I think that was probably one of my favorite lines in that. When did you learn to fly?
190?
You look good for your age. Yeah, I definitely cracked up at that one. It looks very action-oriented. We got a lot more Lando Calrissian in this trailer, which was something I want to see that dynamic, because they tease so much in The Empire Strikes Back as to their previous relationship.
Right.
So I can't wait for that to pan out.
I'm just glad that Donald Glover just did it on his own. Like, he did his own thing. He didn't try to impersonate Billy D. Williams. You know what I mean? Get you a nice Colt 45.
Yeah,
you know?
I can honestly say I can appreciate that he's not doing that.
Yeah.
And the same can be said with the dude playing Han Solo. It didn't seem to me, and still doesn't, that he's trying to do a Harrison Ford impression.
Right, and I would rather him not.
I mean, I could see him taking points from Harrison Ford.
Right.
Much like the guy that did the Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars cartoon isn't Ewan McGregor. It's another guy. It's an American dude. He's not even British. And he just does, like, I watched an interview with him, and he's like, I had to take a little bit of, you know, the old Obi-Wan, and then a little bit of the newer Obi-Wan, and then just mix the two. So
I can appreciate that.
I feel like if this kid does that with Han Solo, just takes points, mannerisms, like you were saying, and builds on them, then I'll be happy with the movie, because the story looks solid. So fuck off anybody that doesn't like Woody Harrelson in a Star Wars movie.
I don't like Woody Harrelson in anything. Did you hear he was going to try to... They were
Carnage.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm down.
No.
What?
Why?
You've seen Natural Born Killers, yeah?
I've seen Natural Born
Okay, so how can you not see fucking him as a psychotic serial killer?
Yeah, I can see him as a psychotic serial killer.
That's what Carnage is, though.
Yeah, but I don't see him as... I don't know, like, I think he's just too old and
You're
vegan.
not going to see him as Carnage. It's CG.
I think he's just too old and vegan.
You're a fucking bigot. I don't like old vegans, so they can't play psychotic killers.
Speaking of his veganism, did you know that in the movie Zombieland, they had to create a vegan Twinkie for him?
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, like, they fabricated a Twinkie.
They should make those and market them if they want to reinvigorate people's interest in Twinkies, because the way this country's going, everybody's going to be vegan in 10 years.
And I love Twinkies.
Yeah, you can't expect me to become a goddamn vegan if you're not going to keep Twinkies in my life.
Right?
It is very obvious that I love Twinkies, because you see, I eat them like 2 at a time, and then they get wedged right in here.
Right on right in the tum area.
That's a Tommy Boy reference for those of you that don't. Tommy Boy.
I don't Tommy Boy.
R.I.P. Chris Farley.
R.I.P. Chris Farley. But I don't Tommy Boy.
So let's move on to the topic of the day here. Wrestle-fucking-mania.
Wrestle-fucking-mania!
Wrestlemania! Sorry, I'm a little hoarse from watching WrestleMania yesterday.
We both are. So excuse this corporation if our voices seem a little off, but
it was intense. I think if we're going to discuss WrestleMania, though, we kind of have to take on everything that happened, because WrestleMania is an event. So, as you have probably noticed, this is going to be a 2-part episode, because we're just going to discuss everything about WrestleMania, starting with the Hall of Fame. Ran way too long.
4 hours.
Almost 5 of thank yous. Ridiculous. Highlights from that for me: the Dudley Boys acceptance speech.
And putting the production assistant through the table.
Oh my God, when they did that could have ended it. That could have been the Hall of Fame ceremony for me.
Right.
Everything else was just kind of a side note. I wasn't a huge fan of the Hillbilly Jim speech.
And then I got a phone call.
Opportunity.
And then I moved back home and I got another phone call.
Opportunity. Hey, JR. Opportunity.
I'd like to thank JR for this opportunity.
Almost 2 fucking hours that speech seemed like. That just went the fuck on, man.
It was dragging so hard.
I had lost interest in the entire event after that. And I stuck it out, unlike most of the WWE roster, which left.
Right. Yes. There was nobody there by almost the end of it. If I were Goldberg, I'd have been mad as hell.
Goldberg should come back just to run through the locker room and knock out everybody that didn't stay for his speech.
Right?
In all fairness, his speech sucked, though. And the only other good point for me after the Dudley Boyz speech was the Mark Henry speech.
Right.
And although that one ran long, at least he was a little more lighthearted. Everybody else, the Jeff Jarrett one was just unbearable.
Well, that's because Jeff Jarrett's a piece of shit, though.
I don't even understand why he got accepted into the Hall of Fame.
He's probably got something on Vince. He's probably blackmailing him or something.
That's the bitch, because he just put them through so much fucking hell this last year over the Woken Heart. He's the one that told WWE they couldn't have woken or broken Matt Hardy.
Right.
And then he lost his job at TNA shortly after, and then they were embroiled in this big-ass legal battle for a year. Like,
it's so dumb.
And yet Vince was still like, oh, put him in the Hall of Fame. Like, that was like a Nixon Vince, but I'm okay with that.
I am not a businessman.
You're fired. that was horrible. Anyway, though,
Tricky Vince.
Tricky Vince, love it. That's a coin thing. Vince, love you. Please stop fucking ruining the WWE.
Just give it to Triple H already.
Please just give it to Triple H. He very much can handle it way better than you can. You've lost sight. You've lost vision. You're still a body guy for some fucking reason in 2018. But please. So I don't really want to talk too much more about that disappointment that was the Hall of Fame 2018. There's the next topic of NXT Takeover New Orleans.
Yeah, that was great, especially the part where you spoiled the North American Championship for me.
I didn't spoil shit. All I said was Adam Cole, baby, which, as you know, Eddie Lyon, is his catchphrase.
Yes. And you posted that on Facebook after he had won the North American Championship.
But you didn't know that that's what happened.
No, but I knew you.
You just assumed. You assumed.
Yeah, and I assumed correctly.
Yes, you did, but you still assumed. You should know, just as my girlfriend learned last night, to stay off social media during WrestleMania weekend.
I don't have to do shit.
All right, fine.
Stay around and die.
Yeah, regardless, I didn't spoil anything for you.
You did.
I didn't.
You did.
I will not agree to this. I didn't.
It's okay, Doc. I accept your apology.
I'm going to remember that the next time you fucking post someone's catchphrase, I'm going to be like, oh, thanks for spoiling that for me, Eddie Lyon.
I will do it. I'll do it again.
Yeah, you will, you son of a bitch. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the ladder match. I thought it was okay, but I don't think that it was the appropriate way to bring out Ricochet and EC3.
I agree. I think Ricochet and EC3 both as brand new wrestlers coming out of the indies, for them to not have been displayed as well as they should have, even just fighting each other.
That would have even been okay. I didn't need them in their own individual matches. They could have put them in there just one match. But, I mean, in all fairness, I feel like that Northwest American title is just like a trinket. Like, it's not even a real thing.
It's like the European title.
Yeah.
Oh no! It's like a
hardcore title.
It's like Zack Ryder's Internet Championship.
Or, what's his name? James Ellsworth's Transgender Championship.
Or Ted DiBiase's, like, money belt.
Dumb. All of them. It honestly, it was a decent match. I'd never seen ladders snapped in half. I'm not a fan of your Dream guy, the Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen Dream is where it's at, man. He's a gangster. That top of the ladder elbow, you can't deny.
That it was okay, but he doesn't do his elbow like what's that Asian chick?
Kairi Sane?
Yeah, like
nobody does an elbow like Kairi Sane.
Had he done his elbow like that though, where he kind of looked like he was gonna land on his knees when he was coming down. Like he had a really low center of gravity for that.
But he's a big dude. He's tall,
so he can take it if he goes all the way up in the air.
Yeah, but I don't think he can even bend like that. Kairi Sane folds herself in half pretty much.
It's true, she does. If you haven't seen Kairi Sane's fucking elbow, you're missing out on life. For those of you that are not wrestling fans, you should be. I know we've gotten some feedback where people are like, that's not a nerd thing, but
if it's not a nerd thing, you're going to have to acknowledge it as a sport.
And you should have been here last night with fellow nerds who have, I mean, we were, playing Magic the Gathering?
Yep.
And watching wrestling. If that's not fucking nerdy, I don't know what the fuck is.
Agreed.
I think the second match that night was Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
I saw Ember Moon losing the strap that night.
Me too.
I didn't see her winning that match.
Nope. Yeah, especially during her promo video where she was like, as long as I'm standing, she's not getting this title, which usually means I'm giving this title away.
Yeah, I think even before then, once I even saw that even that rivalry was still going and that Ember Moon was still holding the championship, that she was going to lose it.
Right.
That's just, unfortunately, the drawback to WrestleMania season. There's going to be a lot of title changes.
Yep.
But I was very pleased with that match. I didn't see Ember Moon falling asleep. I didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought she was going to lose to maybe like a pin or like she was going to tap.
A submission, yeah.
But she knocked out.
She went to dreamland, man. But I'll tell you what, she struggled. She struggled hard like a new guy in prison. She was just fighting that all the way.
No, it was a great match. It was definitely a great match.
Yeah, it was. God, what were the other matches that night, Eddie Lion?
I believe it was the Authors of Pain.
Oh, the tag team title change. What was it? The Dusty Rhodes tag team
Classic.
Yeah. Personally, I don't see the point of that one either. If there was a reigning tag team, why would you take the title from them just to put it up in the middle of a fucking battle royale?
I agree.
Not a thing. Honestly, I didn't really have a lot invested in that match anyway. That was kind of my bathroom match. Like, I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, it was really uneventful. So, like, I don't know. It was just not one. It's just one. Yeah, it's exactly like you said. It's a bathroom match. It's a go outside and have a cigarette match.
I think, what's funny about that too, though, when we were watching Mania, the tag team match was also... The tag team title match was also my bathroom break match.
Agreed.
I was like, I don't need to see the Bludgeon Brothers win because I know they're going to. I'm just going to go to the bathroom, step outside, get some air. I'll be back when something interesting happens.
Very uneventful.
But then we also, during NXT TakeOver, had the Cien Almas and
Aleister Black.
Ooh, that was such a good one.
That was a great match. I called Aleister Black winning simply because he's undefeated in one-on-one competition at the moment.
Well, and I didn't see Cien Almas carrying on after that. Mm-hmm. He had held the title for such a long time, and I think it was TakeOver Philadelphia was the last one.
Yes.
And he really went to town for that one and defended it hard, and it was a really good match. So I didn't see him maintaining the title, the championship after this. I wanted to see him go out with a fight, and he did. Mm-hmm. What's her name? Selena Vega. Mm-hmm. I feel like every Hispanic character ever, they named Selena to try and like push her over with that crowd. Right. They're like, oh, her first name's Selena. You remember her, don't you? She's gonna face a girl named Yolanda. How do you feel about that? That would actually be good if I would actually probably watch this character that I can't stand named Selena Vega, if they gave her a storyline against a villain named Yolanda.
R.I.P. Selena Quintanilla. You are bitty bitty bomb bombing in our hearts still.
I mean, your heart. I can't stand that movie.
Well, that's not the movie, it's the song.
Oh, that's right. She was real.
Yeah.
I personally was, into the American Selena, a.k.a. Aaliyah.
Go on.
R.I.P. Aaliyah. Knock yourself out and try again. Pick yourself up, try again. I think we would all appreciate it if you did.
Please do.
Just come back, zombie Aaliyah, please. Couple random... no, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I almost jumped the gun. Something that I do. So the next match we had that night was my fucking favorite match of the whole thing. Johnny Gargano and Tomas Ciampa. Tomasa, whatever the fuck. Tomasi Ciampa.
Tommaso.
Yeah, whatever. Italian guy. The Sicilian psychopath, I think, is what they kept referring to him as. Also, on that note, too, Mauro Ranallo, you're my favorite fucking announcer.
Right? When he was referring to them as
He referred to him as the Mad Titan Thanos. So that's another thing, all you people out there saying wrestling isn't nerdy. You obviously don't pay attention, because Mauro Ranallo straight up gave us the Infinity War, but in the ring. He even said that. He was just like, this is like the Infinity War, only instead of 6 Infinity Stones, it's the stones that these 6 men have to get into the ring.
And then Sullivan runs in, and Sullivan runs in like the Mad Titan Thanos.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm back from the bathroom now. Please continue to call this match Mauro Ranallo. Plus his name just rolls off the tongue. You gotta love that. It's very Hispanic. Which is cool with me. But yeah, the Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, his alias, versus Tommaso Ciampa was really good.
They went at it.
Oh my god, their faces were so swollen at the end of that
Both
match.
of them. If y'all think these guys, I mean, yeah, of course they're gonna pull some punches every now and then, but sometimes, just sometimes, these guys go hard as hell.
And this was an unsanctioned match, so they had to sign release forms saying that whatever happens to you, you can't sue the WWE. Let's talk about that real quick, too, because it was something we had to clear up last night for everybody. Wrestlers are not employees of the WWE. They are independent contractors. And what that means is they can't hold the WWE liable for insurance costs or anything like that. And they can't claim it as, like, they have to do their taxes all weird and shit because of it. Honestly, it's probably the worst thing about being a wrestler, a professional wrestler, is the fact that the WWE won't take ownership of you as an employee.
Right? It's just like, hey, if you're broken, you're broken.
Oh, hope you get better. We gave you $100,000 last year. Good luck.
Yep.
Sorry that you got concussed and killed your family. Oh, R.I.P. Chris Benoit on that one.
Not really R.I.P.
No, man, I felt bad for the dude. Had the WWE given a shit about their fucking wrestlers then like they do now, where they forced Daniel Bryan to not wrestle for 3 years because of his concussions due to the Chris Benoit incident, that whole scenario was fucked up. Badass wrestler, should have been cared for a whole lot better, considering that his fucking move was a flying headbutt. God knows, like, that dude's brain just must have been one big callus. Just a big nubby fucking, I can eat, I can breathe, eat, flying headbutt. Like, that's about all he knew at the end.
That's really all it was.
And so, yeah, man, for me, it's an R.I.P. Chris Benoit thing. It sucks. It's a shitty fucking thing to do, and it's shitty how he went out. But in the end, had the WWE, or if the WWE would take better care of their fucking talent, it probably could have been avoided. They would have probably retired him before that ever became a fucking possibility.
Imagine how many WrestleManias he could have seen with him.
Yeah, it could have been a good thing. But there's a little history for you guys. If you don't know, you can't claim that you're a WWE employee if you're a wrestler, because you're not. And if they say they fire you, they're not firing you. They're just ending your contract, which is, I guess, technically firing. But if you're not employed, then they can't fucking fire you. So the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa match was super fucking intense, even though, especially because they had to sign those releases.
Yep.
That whole thing where Tommaso Ciampa rips up the mat and exposes the concrete, and then ends up having himself thrown onto the concrete with that fucking power bomb.
Yeah, he gets power bombed right onto that cement.
And you just hear this fucking, as soon as he hits, it's the loudest fucking hit, man. I was not ready for the intensity of that match. And I didn't follow DIY. I wasn't into NXT. Like I said, I'm kind of just barely getting into it now. Mm-hmm. But I think the stinger at the beginning, where they just give you every bit of history between the two, is all that you need to know.
Yep.
And then you just see the intensity in there. Ciampa doesn't even come out to theme music. He's just like, let's just fucking do this.
Yeah, let's just fight. Tommaso Ciampa, to me, reminds me of Jafar in Aladdin.
Yeah,
when he's wearing that beggar's outfit.
Yep, he looks very villainesque. He just looks like a heel. That guy could never be a face.
Like if Scar from The Lion King ever took a human form,
that would be Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah, and then Johnny Gargano. I'm telling you, man, that dude, he needs to not have Paramore for his theme music when he comes out.
Right? I don't understand that at all, Johnny Wrestling. We need to get you a new theme song, bruh.
Yeah, something a little more intense that best represents you, because that song does not. That's like a Becky Lynch entrance track.
Seriously is.
Yeah,
and she's got dudes on hers.
Yeah, she does. She's got, it's like all of Ireland chanting behind her. Oh, which is it's very fitting of her.
Yeah.
The last kicker. Also, Becky Lynch coming from NXT. A lot of, I think that's what's awesome about our current main roster is all of the talent that Triple H has built up.
Mm-hmm. All of the call-ups that are coming.
So, and we've got a fresh season now. Tonight, once again, we record a week early. So by the time you're hearing this, and we did this on purpose, a lot of people give their predictions and stuff before so that you're listening ahead of time. We wanted to do it after because we want to talk about the actual fucking show without providing spoilers. We give you this, you have a week that you'll be able to watch this before you hear our podcast. So you will have the option to hear our opinions, which I think is a better way for us to do it, because some of my predictions were fucking wrong.
Way wrong.
There was a lot that happened during WrestleMania that I did not see fucking coming. Some of it disappointing, some of it awesome. So let's get into the kickoff show. We had the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Yes.
What is that? 30 men start off in the ring at once and then have to get thrown over the ropes. Both feet have to touch the ground in order to be disqualified.
And it was cool. Like, once it started dwindling down, it started to gain its steam for me. Usually when you have that many people in the ring, it just becomes this giant clusterfuck of what the fuck. And once it started dwindling down and people had more room, it started getting way better.
And you could actually start picking out your favorite to win. I actually picked my favorite to win right at the beginning of it because I'm a huge mark for Woken Matt Hardy.
I'm not a huge mark for Woken Matt Hardy, but I still chose him anyway just because I respect Matt Hardy.
I think we discussed this a couple weeks ago. You didn't do, like, as much as you liked Ultimate Deletion, you're pretty much done on that one. You don't need to see it.
Yeah, I was really excited when he came out, and then I think the cheesier the gimmick got, the worse off I feel it.
And that's the opposite for me. The cheesier the gimmick got, the more I dove in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the rabbit hole right now, bro. Yeah. We're in Wonderland. It's wonderful. Me and Skarsgård, the dilapidated boat, are chilling with our mower of lawn.
And chair of wheels.
Yeah. So I as soon as I saw the Woken Matt thing involved, I was all in. I was not, however, expecting how he was going to win. Would you like to tell us about how Matt Hardy won, Eddie Lyon?
So, it's Matt Hardy, Baron Corbin, at the end of the Battle Royal, and they're getting ready to get down. All of a sudden, everything goes dark. Come back, and Bray Wyatt is chilling, just waiting to pounce.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt, if you're not familiar, was deleted during Ultimate Deletion.
In the lake of...
Reincarnation.
Yeah,
he was rendered obsolete. And I was 100% into it. Still am 100% into it. I'm actually more excited now because Bray Wyatt's back. And it seems that him and Woken Matt Hardy will be a thing.
Yes, and then with Jeff Hardy coming back as Brother Nero, which, fun fact, Nero is Jeff Hardy's middle name.
His actual middle name, like... And I'm pretty sure that's how they kind of cornered the legal angle of the Broken thing, was saying, hey, by the way, you can't bar him from using his real name.
Yep.
And I
heard a rumor. I actually heard a rumor that he changed it to Nero.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not sure, Corporation, if you're out there and can corroborate this story, please let us know. But from what I heard, Jeff changed his middle name to Nero so that he could keep the Brother Nero gimmick.
I'm okay with that.
That's so good.
Yeah. The sacrifices we make for our creative properties. Is that really a sacrifice, though? Because I feel like Nero's a cool middle name to have.
I would love to be called Nero.
Yeah, if my middle name were Nero, I wouldn't go by Dr. Nick, because I had to add a suffix to my name just to make my name cool. Because everybody's named Nick.
Right.
Especially if you're Greek. Which I am not, but claim to be very frequently. So yeah, I'm glad that they got that gimmick. I'm excited to see a Woken faction. Mm-hmm. I really, really hope that that's the route they go with it. I
would be more of a mark for Matt Hardy if Brother Nero and Woken Wyatt were there.
I like the name Woken Wyatt too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily paint him as a subordinate, but also beats his previous iterations.
Right. I'm Husky Harris.
Yeah.
I'm the tank with a Ferrari engine.
I wasn't a fan of Bray Wyatt. I kind of got into him when he had Randy Orton on his team,
mm-hmm.
and they were playing that whole angle. But then that House of Horrors shit happened,
yeah,
and that was the dumbest. And it's funny because I liked the Ultimate Deletion,
right? And House of Horrors was pretty much the same thing.
But I feel like that's almost the WWE was because Matt Hardy wasn't a thing in the WWE during that match,
right?
So I feel like that was their jab at that.
Gotcha.
They're like, oh, look what TNA did, and it got over fucking huge. So we're going to give you Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton in a House of Horrors match. I just remember everybody thinking, what the fuck is a House of Horrors match?
Right.
And then at the same time, that shit was stupid as shit because what they did, if you're not familiar with what this was, Bray Wyatt used to have this Sister Abigail thing where it was his dead sister, I think, and she was buried at their childhood home, and that's where he drew all of his strength and power from, was the spirit of his dead sister.
And then Randy Orton burns it down.
Yeah, Randy Orton just, and then they end up taking this match at this dilapidated, for lack of a better phrase, dilapidated shitty fucking house. And apparently this house is like 20 minutes away from the arena because as soon as they finish at the house, all of a sudden they appear back in the arena doing shit.
That's ridiculous.
It was too much for me. It was a less creative version of the Ultimate Deletion gimmick.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, because in all fairness, the Ultimate Deletion gimmick or Total Nonstop Deletion gimmick was, because let's be real here. The Ultimate Deletion was the true plagiarized version of Total Nonstop Deletion.
Yep.
Which was TNA's version before the Hardys left and Jeff Jarrett decided to put them through hell. Fuck you, Jeff Jarrett, by the way.
Fuck you, Jeff.
I feel like that's going to become a thing every week. We're going to find something we hate and we're just, fuck you. I do not appreciate you, Jeff Jarrett. And I do not appreciate the hell that you've caused for people, wrestlers. Your wife looks so fucking pissed at you at the Hall of Fame ceremony. That was one thing I did notice about your speech. Your wife looked like she wanted to murder you. I'm like, I wonder what bigoted, racist, shitty thing he said to make her look at him like that before his induction. Fuck you, Jeff Jarrett.
Fuck you, Jeff Jarrett.
But yeah, man, I was really, really happy with this match, the Battle Royal. I was happy the way it ended. I expected it to be just kind of like a rip-off of any other Battle Royal in the past. Just kind of like, yeah, okay, you got 30 men. They go over the top rope. Somebody's going to have to win it. So I liked the twist at the end, that's for sure.
Moving on from that, the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal.
Oh, my God.
That was cool.
I think it was awesome to see how many NXT call-ups they had for that.
Yeah, it was pretty much half the Battle Royal.
In all fairness, they don't have a huge women's roster right now.
No.
On the main roster. So that and it was nice to see the NXT women kind of gang up on the main roster women, even though that did nothing for them.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Naomi.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that coming. Jonathan, your oldest son, had to point that out to me. Because I was like, fuck that. That bitch got thrown out, and he just stood up. He's like, Uncle Nicky, she got knocked down, and then she rolled out from under the bottom rope and just kind of hung out. I was like, oh my God.
Yep, because at the end of it, it was Sasha Banks and Bayley, and I had put money on either of them.
Yeah.
So I was happy with whoever was going to win, and so Sasha Banks gets eliminated.
Boy, did she. I thought it was great because Bayley just fucking threw her under the bus. Bayley being a face, for those nerds that are listening and aren't familiar with wrestling terms, a baby face is the hero and a heel being the bad guy. We use that term a lot, not even just for when we describe wrestling, even when we're talking like comic book movies and things. I usually will refer
to the protagonist
as a heel. Mm-hmm. And so, we'll try and give you a little bit of rundown on terms as we go throughout this. And I think that's kind of the point of this podcast. Not so much to give you spoilers or really talk about a lot of in-depth topics. We're more or less trying to just give you the rundown so that you're not left in the dark. A lot of, stories that we've done, the Infinity Gauntlet, we weren't trying to talk about all of the dynamic between Thanos and Mistress Death. We just wanted you to understand where that main story came from.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're doing here. This is just a really big event, WrestleMania, so we're going to give you a little bit of knowledge.
So on to the show of shows.
No, you missed. Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali.
That's right.
That's not uncommon that people forget that 205 Live is a thing. But we did have the general manager, Drake Maverick, he's the commissioner.
Yes, he's the commissioner.
Yeah, the commissioner, Drake Maverick, who was previously Rockstar Spud in TNA.
Right.
And I just like the name Drake Maverick, too. I feel like it's super James Bondy.
Right.
Drake Maverick.
Just secret agent.
Yeah, and he looks like it, too. He's totally
got it all dressed up. He's just like this little pint-sized secret agent.
Yeah, he is. Secret agent, man. That was a good match. I like the 205. I like the Cruiserweight division. Because it's like the luchador division.
It really is.
Of WWE, even though they lack a lot of luchadors.
Right. I think that's the main problem with 205 Live is that their division just doesn't have enough
oomph.
I guess, yeah. I mean, they don't have enough oomph, but it's because of how small the roster is. And even then, in that roster, there aren't that many 5-star players, I guess.
That really pop, yeah. Mm-hmm. No one really stands out for me in 205 Live. At one point, they had Enzo Amore there, and, as much as I hate to say this, fuck you, Enzo Amore. We're pro-consent at this podcast. But I was a huge mark for Enzo, to many people's dismay. But that was about the only cruiserweight I gave a shit about in 205 Live.
See, for me, it was Enzo Amore, but it was also my dude, Gentleman Jack Gallagher.
Oh, God, you and that fucking guy.
He is the best headbutt in the business, man. You can't deny me that.
I give you that. He does have the best headbutt in the business, but fucking shit, dude. If he's not the, littlest jar of mayonnaise, if you put him, he looks, okay, here, check this analogy out, okay? This is my brain being awesome. If you took Jack Gallagher and gave him Captain America's Super Soldier Serum,
he'd become Sheamus?
He'd be Sheamus.
I saw that coming.
He would. And, his mustache would go badass, his haircut would go badass, and there would be more to him. He would go from the little squeeze bottle of mayonnaise to the big fucking industrial-sized jar of mayonnaise.
To the Costco size.
Yeah. Like I said, I honestly even like the gimmick of the Gentleman Jack Gallagher thing. But there is nothing to that man. It looks like a breeze would fucking knock him over.
But it doesn't. He just headbutts the breeze.
He headbutts that breeze. And then that breeze knows never to do that shit again.
Right? You learn from the gentleman.
I think, honestly, I appreciate more Jack Gallagher than I do, let's say, The Miz.
Yeah.
I just don't like The Miz. I feel like, who said that shit yesterday? Weird Sense, where he was like, oh, shout out to Weird Sense, by the way, and everybody that came to the WrestleMania celebration. We had a good fucking time.
We had a great time.
But he said that they typecast him. Like, oh, you're just an asshole, so you're going to play an asshole. And I just feel like that's The Miz in
It's
general.
true.
If you watched him on The Real World, that's a great representation of him.
It's true.
The Miz being one of those dudes that on The Real World didn't have much of a body, and then all of a sudden
He just got
you
buff.
see him now and he's just fucking cut, dude.
Yep.
Like, that guy is huge. So yeah, back to the 205. Sorry, we veered away. But back to the Cedric Alexander Mustafa Ali match. Their entrances were fucking awesome. I don't know if you had gone to get wings or some shit during that.
No, I was there. I was there for Cedric's entrance. I wasn't there for Mustafa's.
He came out as Sub-Zero.
Really?
Yeah, he had but his mask was like digitally lit, and it was changing between all the ninja colors.
Oh, cool.
From like yellow to red to blue, and he had like this fan on his hand, and so he came out in the smoke and like put his hand out, and all the smoke started twirling out of his hand.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude, his entrance was fucking. It's funny because it got Dane was actually like, wow, that's actually a really cool fucking entrance, and I was like, ha, fuck you, hater. But yeah, I was really impressed, and I wanted Mustafa Ali to win because I like it when a heel can get the strap, but the strap being a euphemism for the championship. So I would have liked to have seen Mustafa Ali get it, but I knew that Cedric Alexander was going to take it.
It was a long time coming for Cedric Alexander too. I follow 205 Live, so watching it and watching him get it, it's really like satisfying.
Yeah, and another observation for me that I just thought of for the 205 Live division, I feel like that's the greasiest division of them all.
It's true.
All of those dudes that wrestle for that just look like fucking porn stars and child molesters and just the grossest of the gross.
Like they slip and slide through lube
Yeah,
just to be shiny.
They slip and slide through life, Eddie Lyon.
Ugh.
Those, man. That's just, I mean, because look at, you had Enzo, who was booted for apparently drugging and molesting a chick.
Rich
Swann for beating the shit out of his wife, I think.
That's right.
So, I mean, really, 205 Live is wrestling Jerry Springer, which is, I think, an accurate representation.
I can dig that.
Maybe that's why we don't watch it, because we're in 2018 and Jerry Springer just is whatever. Like, I ain't watching that shit anymore. I don't care.
Not to mention, like we've said on every other episode, we are pro-consent here at the Nerd Corporation.
I like that stance in life.
We've said it every single episode since.
And I'm
since we
okay
started.
with that. I actually stole that from Learning the Ropes, the wrestling podcast that we both follow. If you're not listening to Learning the Ropes and you don't know anything about wrestling and would like to learn more, that's the podcast you need to follow.
Big shout out to Scott and Brian from the Learning the Ropes
Those
podcast.
motherfuckers, they put it down. They actually just hit their 1-year anniversary of doing their podcast, and they started out with the Macho Man Randy Savage, and their last episode was Sami Zayn. So they've covered a whole lot of ground. But anyway, yeah, I gotta say, man, fucking wasn't entirely into the 205 Live Cruiserweight match.
Not really.
But it went better than I thought it would.
Agreed.
So, moving on. Quick little fact about WrestleMania. The very first WrestleMania was March 31st, 1985 at Madison Square Garden and only had 19,000 in attendance, Eddie Lyon.
That's crazy. If you think about it, like from here to now, like from there to now, 19,000 then, and last night I think WWE announced the attendance record for WrestleMania 34, which was 78,133 people. Can you imagine just how big WrestleMania has gotten over the years?
Well, and it's fluctuated too. They started out, they did 19,000 was the first WrestleMania. By the way, the main event for that first WrestleMania was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff.
Yeah. And then WrestleMania 2 was held in 3 cities, New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, all for a combined total of 42,000 in attendance, with Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy being the main event in that one.
But then you have like a huge jump after that, because the third WrestleMania, which is probably the most memorable WrestleMania, like if you're a wrestling fan and have been for a while and you've looked back, some people maybe it may not have been born or been wrestling fans during that era.
I
think WrestleMania 3 is the one that people will usually direct you to, and that's the one where they had the main event was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
And that was also the night of the Macho Man Ricky Steamboat epic
match. That was 2 great matches on one major card like that. And they had 93,000 plus in attendance for that one.
That was such a big jump.
Huge jump. And think about that. The first WrestleMania was 19,000 people. 2 years later, 93,000 plus in attendance. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of fucking money. It is very obvious why Vince McMahon is as rich as he is.
Absolutely. I was looking up tickets for next year's Survivor Series. And to get seats along the ramp where the wrestlers walk out is $900 a ticket.
Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine?
Blasphemy.
$900. It's almost $1,000 a ticket.
Just to sit by the ramp.
And
that's not even technically a good seat. At that point, you just get to watch them walk to the ring. You're still as far as everybody else looking at the Jumbotron.
Right, and so, yeah, it's amazing.
Especially considering for, like, WrestleMania, the ramp is like half a football field long.
Right.
Like, it's so long that they gave Triple H and Stephanie matching trikes to ride down the fucking thing on, because I guarantee you Steph wouldn't have made that fucking run in those shoes. Mm-hmm. That's just not a thing.
And then, talking about fluctuation, WrestleMania 4 went back down to 18,000. Macho Man and Ted DiBiase, they headlined that one. During the broadcast, they said they were at Trump Plaza, but they were really at the Atlantic City Convention Hall, just kind of...
That was back in the day when saying you were at Trump Plaza actually meant something good.
Ridiculous.
Once again, we don't like to get overly political on the Nerd Corporation. I don't give a fuck who you vote for. Just don't shove it down my throat. Anyway... Yeah, I think that's kind of funny that they use that as their, we're live from Trump Plaza, but we're nowhere near it. I mean, back then you had announcers like Gorilla Monsoon who could really really just drive it home.
I mean, even back then when Vince was an announcer, I
liked Vince as an announcer.
Yeah, like a commentator.
Yeah, I tell you who I don't like as an announcer, Michael fucking Cole.
Right, because he's got Vince right in his ear.
Yeah, dude, he's Vince's new voice box. I like Vince as an announcer. I don't like Michael Cole as Vince's proxy announcer. I think that was very obvious during Ultimate Deletion.
Right.
When he was like, we're really sorry for this obnoxious display that you're about to see. I'm like, don't you dare fucking apologize for that shit.
Right, and it pretty much got over.
Yeah, so I feel like Vince had to eat his words at that point. He had to just suck it up and be like, I guess. WrestleMania 5, just a quick rundown. I believe the next one was kind of a culmination of the two, Hulk versus Randy Savage. And that's when they were the mega powers. Mm-hmm. And then Savage got pissed off at Hulk Hogan because he thought that he was literally in real life trying to fuck Savage's real life wife, Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Miss Elizabeth, you angel.
R.I.P.
You horrible meth loving angel. But yeah, man, that was and I think that was WrestleMania 6, but that whole storyline build up to, I was a kid when that was all going on, and my dad was a huge wrestling fan, and it's funny because my dad and I kind of have this pattern of, my dad was a Hulk Hogan fan, I was a Randy Savage fan. So my dad is a San Francisco 49ers fan. I'm an Oakland Raiders fan. So ever since I was like 6, that's just been our thing. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck Hulk Hogan. Randy Savage. Snap into a Slim Jim.
Ooh, yeah.
Dig it. Anyway, moving on to WrestleMania.
What's your favorite WrestleMania, Doug?
My personal favorite WrestleMania, I'm going to say... Damn, that's a good question. Why you got to spring questions on me? I think, honestly, if I had to, because I am this old head, and back in my day when wrestling was fake, or when wrestling was real, I would say WrestleMania 3.
WrestleMania 3.
The iconic matches, like legendary matches between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. I mean, you have to think about that. Andre the Giant got body slammed by Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And this was back in the day when they would have like pose offs, where they just sit and fucking flex for like 10 minutes and you just had to watch their muscles. And then, there was a huge thing with Big John Studd where he had a body slam competition where Classy Freddie Blassie would pay whoever the fuck could body slam Big John Studd. And so you have Andre the Giant, who is the eighth wonder of the world, and 500 pounds of fucking wine-drinking, cheese-eating Frenchman come out, and he fucking body slammed Big John Studd. And
easy.
His name is Big John Studd. So he's a big fucking guy.
Right.
And so I think that's where the awe came in the body slamming of Andre the Giant. And then on top of that, you have one of the most well put together and best technical fucking matches to ever happen between Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who I have to say I am in no way a mark for. I have never liked Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He just to me looks like Ralph Macchio, for lack of a better comparson.
Yes, lack of a better comparison.
Tell me how you feel about Ralph Macchio, Eddie Lyon.
He's only one of the coolest guys in the world.
You just like the way he whacks off. See what I did there?
Give me your wax off.
So anyway, yeah, I would have to say WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 3 is my pick.
For me, I'm actually going in a little later. 2002 WrestleMania X8. That was the day that The Rock met Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and that match, and I'm an old head too. I loved WrestleMania 3. I loved all the older pay-per-views and all the older. I mean, I'm watching 2001. I've been watching Raw from 95 to 2001.
Oh, so you're just catching up like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I've been watching all the Raws, and then when SmackDown came along, I watched all the SmackDowns. I mean, I'm at 2001 right now, but 2002's WrestleMania X8 always left that big impression on me, just seeing Hulk Hogan and The Rock, just these two big superpowers, just kind of get together face to face. It was amazing. Also watching Triple H and Chris Jericho for the Undisputed Championship, which Triple H had won, Chris Jericho being the very first Undisputed Champion. And if you recall, they had the two belts signifying, you know what I mean, the Undisputed Championship. It was also one of the first pay-per-views that I was able to see. Mm-hmm. So, I guess it's also like a nostalgia, but just watching those two go at it. And I mean, it wasn't a very exciting match. I mean, they both were really just kind of, Hulk Hogan is older, he's slower.
It was almost like what Andre the Giant Hogan was.
Absolutely.
Because that was the passing of the torch of Andre the Giant being this huge phenom of a character and this undefeatable giant of a man, and he passed the torch to Hogan. So I feel like those two matches are comparable in that sense.
Absolutely, and I love those matches. So, Hogan passing the torch to Rock, and then Rock passing the torch to Cena, and
Yeah, there's definitely, when wrestlers reach their time and it's time for them to put the next guy over, that's what that was, and I feel like that's a great representation for that. I too loved that match. It's probably one of the best matches you could ever watch, The Rock Hogan. WrestleMania 18, 17, and X8. Can we just point out real quick how redneck that is? It's WrestleMania X8.
I think you're giving rednecks too much credit.
Yeah, I am. Because they would have been like XVII.
Yeah.
And they're just, what's XVII? So I think that maybe that was...
Zivvy?
Yeah, there you go. Dude, I'm telling you, that's fucking Vince throwing the rednecks a bone. X8. 18. Son of a bitch. So yeah, definitely just want to point that out. But 17 and 18 were great WrestleManias. That's, what is that, the Attitude? Or no, that's Ruthless Aggression, isn't it?
That is the Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay, so another little tidbit of info if you're just getting into wrestling. They usually classify these in eras. So you have the Golden Era, followed by the Rock and Wrestling Era, which was right where I got into it. And then we went into
the Attitude Era.
The Attitude Era being when a lot of current people who are into wrestling kind of got into it, when it was Stone Cold Steve Austin coming up. The Rock, D-Generation X was a huge thing.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah. And then they followed that up with the Ruthless Aggression Era, which is one of your favorites.
It is very wonderful.
I kind of fell off towards the end of the Ruthless Aggression Era. There was a huge gap in there that I missed after that.
Yeah, it was the Reality Era for about a couple of years.
And that's when they came up with their Total Divas show. And, I mean, let's just face it, reality TV kind of took over. So the WWE being a reflection of what's popular in society at the time, that was their gimmick then. And now I think we're still in the reality era.
No, we're in the PG era.
Oh, yeah, that's why there's not any sex or blood or anything. Blading, by the way, has been banned. So if you're watching a wrestling match these days and somebody's bleeding, it's probably a legit bleed.
Yes. Blading, for those of you that don't know, is a technique that wrestlers used in the Attitude Era, where if they got hit in the head with something and wouldn't draw blood, they'd have a blade in their taped wrists, and they'd cut themselves on the forehead to let the blood happen.
Yeah. Or I learned, too, that there was, for instance, there was the Kevin Owens hit on Vince McMahon a couple months ago that spawned the Kevin Owens Shane McMahon feud, where somebody has said they probably had bladed Vince in the back and then super glued it closed so that it would only take a little, pressure to knock that wound open and get him to bleed. So I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, I loved this WrestleMania X8 pick of yours. Definitely something I can subscribe to, being an awesome WrestleMania. So we're coming up near the end of episode A. Luckily, we were able to get through all of the pre-show stuff, kind of give a little info ahead of time. So now when we're talking about the actual event, WrestleMania, during episode B, you'll have a reference guide. So real quick, if you want to comment on anything we've had to say for our WrestleMania episode, if you have any opinions you want to voice on the event itself, you can find us on Facebook at the Nerd Corporation, or across all forms of social media at Nerdcorp Podcast. You can even email us at nerdcorppodcast@gmail.com.
And for those wanting to expand their journey into the multiverse and all the timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/nerdcorppodcast. We have special rewards that you can have access to, such as shout-outs, ringtones, and giveaways. There are also bonus episodes that you can only purchase through our Patreon.
And this month's bonus episode, Eddie Lyon, I'm excited for.
Fandom versus Fandom, Star Wars versus Star Trek, Battle Shots Edition.
Yeah, Eddie Lyon and I will actually be drinking alcohol on air. So it'll be a very candid discussion as to which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars. I personally am very torn between the two, but because you're absolutely against Star Trek,
I am vehemently against Star Trek.
And I am not. I don't care what you say. I'm okay with, teleporters and space, the final frontier. So make sure you hit up Patreon, get some subscription, get our bonus episode, find out which fandom wins, Star Trek or Star Wars. And for all things nerdy, please catch us every Monday. We are the Nerd Corporation.
Thank you so much, and enjoy yourselves.